Hello.
Welcome to, we're going to call it the first episode of Small Town Puller.
Yeah.
This is what we're working on. Little pedal tractor. I'm supposed to have it done by Christmas. There's Jonathan. Say hi.
Hi.
He's going to help me do it. We're going to be putting on these tires on the back.
Yeah.
We're going to maybe try to lower the front, put some wheelie bars on it.
Yep. Yeah.
We're going to end up painting it green. We're going to try to make it look like a John Deere tractor. Probably try to put some little fake weights on the front, but I have a nephew that's supposed to be getting this for Christmas, so we kind of got to get going. So I think today we're going to work on getting it all disassembled and see if we can't maybe get the back wheels mocked up. Probably have to get some tubes for the tires because this tire really doesn't want to take shape. We have the same set of tires on a pedal tractor I built for Jonathan when he was younger. We don't even run air in the tires because they are stiff enough to support a pedal tractor. So let's see what we can do. Boo. So Jonathan's got the wheels, kind of putting the wheels together. We're gonna have to get some bolts in there to kind of press them rims together. We're also gonna need tubes for in these tires. But otherwise he's got them all disassembled and he's putting them back together. Our biggest challenge for these is gonna be, these hubs take a 1-inch diameter shaft. These, after you take the bushing out, are about 7/8 of an inch. But we need to, I know when I put Jonathan's together, I did put a brass bushing in there. I can't remember what I used for hubs on his. I should have probably looked. And then I can just drill out the center of the sprocket on this to make it fit on the bigger shaft. But I think we're gonna have to go to the hardware store and get some more supplies. Probably try to find some inner tubes and some parts to put the rear end together. So we'll see you back here in a little bit. So we're back, aren't we?
Yep.
Had to go to a couple different places.
Yep.
What we decided we're gonna end up doing is I don't like how long this sticks back out of the hub anyways, so we're going to cut that off. I'll machine this to fit in there, we'll weld that on.
Yeah.
And then we are going to use 5/8 axle instead of this. Give it a little more strength. Not that these are really gonna have any issue braking an axle because it is just a pedal tractor, but we are turning a little bit heavier tire.
Yeah.
Ended up having to go to a local egg dealer, and we were there and Jonathan spotted this, which we love everything truck and tractor pulling. So when he seen this and said, "Dad, I don't have it," well, that's kind of suckered me into that. So we ended up coming back with another little 1/64 scale pulling tractor.
We've been needing a sled because we already have 3 different tractors.
Yep, didn't have a sled. Now we got a sled. Almost looks like a European sled. There ain't a cab on the back of it, but we don't care. But what's it got? 2 smokestacks. She's a super stocker. For all practical purposes, we're gonna consider it an alcohol super.
Yep.
We should be able to drill out the center of the factory bushings for now to mock everything up. Otherwise, I will probably try to cut down some nylon bushings to fit in the axle ends. Otherwise, we're gonna go over to lathe, start cutting the inside diameter of these to fit our new axle and start cutting them hubs off. We're gonna try to see if we can't get this thing mocked up yet today. Ready?
Yeah.
So I've got the center hub cut out of this one. I just set on the lathe, cut the weld off, and then it's really close to being able to slide right on there. We're just gonna take a little bit off of that. So that fits in there nice and snug. It'll have a nice flange there to keep it all square. And then I'll drill out the center. And this axle hub will be ready to kind of weld back together. All right, so we got the hubs just tacked in place.
Yep.
Centers are ground out. Yep. Again, we'll make different nylon bushings for these. But this will work for mock-up at this point. So now we're just going to take, Jonathan's been trying to get the hubs put together. Again, we don't have tubes put in them now. But we'll get the hubs bolted on there. And then we'll get the axle kind of mocked up. We can get that length kind of set the way we want, or at least get that axle cut down. And that should be able to kind of have the back tire sit on there and give us kind of a feel of what the tractor is going to look like. And then we can decide if we want to make a custom front end to lower the front end or leave what we got on there. So let's get started putting it together.
Yeah.
Alright, so here we have it. This is what it looks like with the tires on it.
We have to cut the pipe still.
Yep.
And
We're gonna have
we
to...
got the seat mounted.
Well, we checked, make sure the seat would clear the new tires. Yeah, again, the tires aren't mounted all the way, but I don't want to mount them all the way until I have them painted. That way we're not scuffing them up at all. We still have to take the center sprocket off of this, bore that hole out, and weld it to the center of this. Yep. But that shouldn't be too bad, and that should give us our drive. But that is what it looks like with the new tires on it. Now it'll look a little more like a little pulling tractor. Now I think we are going to just mark where we need to cut that rear axle and then probably finish disassembling the tractor, because I still kind of wish the front end sat down a little bit. So we're going to see what it's going to take to maybe make a new solid axle for the front of this, a new wide front, to maybe drop that front end another inch or so, to give it that kind of look like a little pulling tractor. After that, front weight bracket for some custom little fake weights, and then some wheelie bars, and I think we'll be ready to prep it for paint.
Yeah.
All right. So Jonathan's, you're done with that, aren't you?
Yeah.
Done. That's all taken apart. We took the top caps off, and they do have this little metal brace in here, but this is just a plastic cover that goes over top. The spindles are actually steel rod, which I had a feeling they were. Jonathan's tractor, when I put that one together, had a complete steel front end, so we could actually just cut and weld on that one. This one does not. But what we might be able to do is this one, when it sat on there, had the pivot point up here. I think we can put basically a steel axle in there, a square tube axle in there, put the hole right here, and then we should be able to cut this down as well for the steering, and then hopefully everything will line up. We'll have to look at it for sure, make sure that's gonna work. That's current plan of what we're gonna do. Maybe try to straighten them spindles a little bit. I'm assuming they're bent up like that, so it kind of helps force the wheels on when the kids are running it or riding them, but don't know for sure on that one. But we think we're going to play with that a little bit yet today and see if we can't maybe make a front axle work on it, and then hope for the best. So we disassembled the front end, and this might end up going a little bit easier than I was thinking it was going to do. So the factory front end has that, a little steel piece underneath it. We're probably going to leave, for all good purposes, the camber and stuff that was on it. We're probably going to leave it just like that. But what we are going to do is, down my scrap pile I had this piece of square tubing, which is way thicker than we need, but it's going to work just fine. We're going to cut this out to kind of resemble this a little bit. We'll drop this down a little bit, make it so these spindles go up in here. Put the pivot pin right there, and then for the steering, we can actually reuse this piece, but where this mounted on top of the spindles before, we're going to drop it down to mount it underneath, and if we have to go a little bit lower, we'll actually be able to drop it down. So we might not get a full inch of drop on the front of it, but I think we're gonna get pretty close. We're gonna run it to the hardware store again. I want to see if I can't maybe get a sleeve to put in here to kind of help center the axle. And then we're gonna start cutting it and see if we can't shape it up. All right, so this is where we're at. I think we're gonna call it a day today. We've got it kind of marked out where we need to trim it off. There would be the mounting pin. We did set up in there. It does pivot enough. This is where the bottom 2 spindles are gonna go, but we're gonna trim it out. We're actually gonna call it a day. I have a meeting yet tonight, so I'm gonna go home and kind of clean up for that. Otherwise, I hope you've enjoyed our first episode of Small Town Puller. Jonathan, did you have fun today?
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you again next time. Probably, hopefully, have the front axle kind of cut and welded back up and ready to go. And you'll see more of this. Talk to you later.